Hey gardening friends, welcome back to my channel. In today's garden planting series video, we're going to be talking all things tomatoes. So I will be discussing which varieties I grew this year in 2025, why I chose those varieties, my own personal experiences with growing those, and then we'll also cover which varieties I'm planning to grow in 2026. Of course, I'm going to be starting them all from seed, so I'll also cover when I intend to start sowing those seeds. We'll also talk about spacing as well as a few other things. So if that's something you're interested in, then please keep watching. All right, guys, so before we start talking varieties, let me start out by saying that my family and I are not big slicer tomato eaters or lovers. So you will not see a lot of slicer tomatoes in the varieties that I'm going to show you. And that is because that's not something that we really enjoy. We don't necessarily like green tomatoes or fried green tomatoes. We don't eat a lot of sliced tomatoes with like sandwiches and dishes and things of that nature. Our primary purpose for the tomatoes that we grow is to use them for making tomato sauce, pizza sauce, making relishes, and things of that nature. So that is predominantly why we primarily choose to grow paste tomatoes as opposed to slicer tomatoes. So just wanted to cover that right off the bat. You will see a couple of slicers in the varieties that I'm going to talk about for 2026, but the majority of what you will see will be paste tomatoes. So just wanted to cover that first and foremost. Secondly, we also prefer indeterminate tomatoes as opposed to your determinate tomato varieties. For those of you who may not necessarily be familiar with the difference between the two, think of your indeterminates as your vining tomatoes, and these are those that will grow for an indefinite period of time, usually until they die back from inclement weather like a cold frost, or until you pull them out of the ground or cut them down to the root level. Your determinate varieties are the ones that are usually your bushy patio variety tomatoes that typically they will produce fruit at a specific point in time, and then once they produce that amount of fruit, they're pretty much done for the season. So we typically prefer the indeterminate. One of the main reasons for our preference for the indeterminate variety is that you get a continuous supply of tomatoes throughout the season. So we have not necessarily a very long growing season, but about close to 200 days of frost-free days where we can grow fruit, vegetables, or flowers. And so what that means is that we have a pretty significant amount of time where we can get a good supply before we get our first frost in the fall. So what that means for me is that I have to do a lot of pruning throughout the season. So I'm usually out in the garden pruning the tomato plants every couple of weeks just to make sure they're getting enough, airflow around the plants. Otherwise, they can be subjective to a lot of diseases and wilting and things of that nature. So if you're someone who prefers to not have to do a lot of pruning, or you prefer something that's more compact and manageable, then a determinate tomato variety might be better for you. If you're someone who doesn't mind going out and pruning your tomato plants, every few weeks or every so often, just to make sure that they have good airflow, good circulation going around the plants, and they're getting sufficient support as they continue to grow upward, then indeterminate might be for you, but you just have to make sure you take those things into consideration when deciding, which one is best for you. All right, now that we've gotten all of that background out of the way, now let's get into the varieties that I grew this year in 2025. So the first variety is a cherry tomato called Tomato Sun Gold. And I will also put a picture on the screen here so you can see what that looks like in case you're not familiar with sun gold tomato. This year was my first time planting a sun gold tomato, and I was really impressed. I really like the flavor. Somewhat sweet, but not too sweet. I'm not really a big fan of very acidic flavor tomatoes. And so I like something that's a little bit more on like the sweet side when it comes to a cherry tomato. And so I was really impressed with this one. It has an average days to maturity of about 57 days. So if you, like me, live in an area or, you know, a region where you have a shorter growing season, this would be a really nice cherry tomato that I would definitely recommend. I will also say that it was a very prolific producer. It was producing tons and tons of cherry tomatoes. I mean, so many that I had a hard time keeping up with harvesting them all. So the next one, and actually the next couple that I'll mention, are all paste tomatoes. So this one is called the Juliet tomato, and it's a hybrid F1 tomato. And I'll go into detail after I go through all of these in terms of what that means. But this is a Juliet tomato. It's a paste tomato. It's about maybe 1.5 to 2 ounces in weight. So one of the smaller, I guess, paste tomato varieties. Again, very prolific producer. I got a ton of these this year. This one is one that I would definitely recommend if you're looking for a prolific paste tomato. Again, it's on the smaller side, so if you want something a little bit bigger or heavier in terms of fruit weight, this may not be the variety for you. But I like to have a mix of large and small paste tomatoes. And this one came recommended from, I think, another content creator that I follow on YouTube, so I thought I would give it a try. Grew it last year. This is my second year growing it, so definitely would recommend this one as well. I'll put a picture on the screen so you can see what it looks like, but again, this is one that, you know, I would recommend if you're looking for a smaller paste tomato that is very prolific. And also, just to mention, it has an average days to maturity of 60 days. So this is also ideal for someone that has a short growing season. Okay, so the next one is a Verona paste tomato, and this is also a hybrid F1 tomato. And again, I'll go in detail about what that means. But this is called Verona, and it's very similar to the Juliet, just a little bit bigger than the Juliet paste tomato. This one is about 2.5 to 3 ounces in weight, in terms of, you know, the average weight of the tomatoes that you can harvest off of this plant. Again, very prolific. You know, standard paste tomato, but, you know, if you're looking for something that's prolific, and if you want something a little bit bigger than the Juliet but not too large, would definitely recommend this one as well. This one has an average days to maturity of about 65 to 70 days. And I'll put a picture on the screen here. The next variety is called the Granadero tomato. Again, another F1 hybrid tomato. And this is another paste. And it's similar to the Juliet and the Verona tomato that I showed you, but it's a little bit heavier or bigger in terms of fruit size. This one can get up to 5 ounces. I would say on average about 4, but it can get up to around 5 ounces in weight. So a nice hefty paste tomato. So if you're looking for something that is a nice, you know, hefty size, then this might be, you know, something that you want to give it a try. It is, again, all of these that I'm going to show you, they're all very prolific producers. I got tons and tons of them. And this one, I believe, has a days to maturity of around 65 to 70 days. So one that you could grow and harvest, you know, if you have a short growing season. And I will put a picture of that Granadero tomato on the screen for you so you can see what that looks like. But the last one that I grew for 2025 is called the Posano tomato. And again, it's an organic hybrid F1 paste tomato. And this one is, to me, is very similar to the Granadero. I'm probably saying it wrong, so I'll put the name on the screen. But the Granadero, it's very similar in my opinion. This one, the Pisano, though, is shaped more like a San Marzano tomato. But it's a little bit heftier. This one can get up to 6 ounces in terms of fruit size. So a little bit heftier, a little bit more thick-walled than the Granadero. But in terms of flavor, I thought that, they all taste about the same to me. The only difference to me is the size. So I like a good variety. I like small up to, a nice big hefty weight. So that's the reason why I grew all of these different varieties of paste. But if you are looking for something that, has a good size to them, because some people don't want to peel really tiny small tomatoes. I don't mind it, but if you want to can them or process them for sauces and you want something that has a little bit more size to it, then I would recommend the Pisano or the Granadero tomato varieties if you're looking for a larger paste tomato. I'll also put a picture of what this looks like on the screen as well. So before I move on to 2026 varieties, I wanted to quickly cover what is a hybrid F1. And what that means is it's basically these tomatoes are the offspring of between 2 or more distinct parent variety tomatoes. And usually when we crossbreed tomatoes, it's to make them more disease resistant. And I didn't have any issues at all with any disease with these tomatoes in 2025. In the past, I've had issues with some disease and a lot of watering issues. This year I had no issues with watering. I put drip irrigation in the beds in 2024. So this was year 2 of me being able to rely on drip irrigation as opposed to hand watering, which meant more consistent watering. So that eliminated the watering issues. And then I had no issues with disease. It could have been because I did a lot of pruning, or it could be, due to them being F1 hybrids. I'm not really certain, but I didn't have any issues with disease. So if that's something that's important to you, then I would definitely maybe consider checking these out. All right, so what are we growing for 2026? So the good news is I'm growing all of the paste tomatoes that I just showed you from 2025. So I had such good luck with those. And like I said, I prefer paste tomatoes because my purpose is to grow them so that we can have lots of tomato sauce, pizza sauce, salsas, and things like that throughout the year. So primarily we'll be sticking with what I grew for 2025. So that includes all the 4 varieties of paste tomatoes that I just showed you. And those are the Juliet, the Verona, the Granadero, and the Pisano. So growing all of those for 2026. I'm also gonna grow another Sun Gold tomato for 2026 because I like that so much that I want to, grow it again for salads and having like a, fresh salad with just cucumber and feta cheese and some Sun Golds, or even just chopping them up and throwing them into a lettuce salad. Look forward to doing that again. So I'm gonna definitely grow this one for 2026. In addition to growing the paste tomatoes and the one Sun Gold that I showed you, I'm going to be growing some slicer tomatoes for my mother-in-law. So as I mentioned earlier in the video, we're not really into eating slicer tomatoes. We prefer paste tomatoes and an occasional cherry tomato. I love cherry tomatoes. The rest of the family will eat them occasionally. So that's what we're going to be growing for the most part. But we are going to be growing a couple of slicers for my mother-in-law because she really loves to eat fried green tomatoes. She likes the slicer tomatoes to make tomato sandwiches. I'm going to be growing 2 different varieties so that she can have lots of tomatoes during the summer. So the first one is a tomato beefsteak, and this is your traditional beefsteak tomato, or I think it's called red ponderosa in other places. So I'm going to be growing this one for her. I'll put a picture up on the screen. I believe this one can take up to 80 days to mature. And the beefsteak tomato is an indeterminate variety. The next slicer tomato that I'm planning to grow in 2026 for my mother-in-law is called a hybrid tomato home slice. And this is just a traditional slicing tomato. It matures in around 65 to 70 days. It is a determinate variety. So the only determinate that I'm planning on growing for 2026. And the reason why is because with determinate varieties, you get all your fruit all at once. And so my plan is to succession plant this. So I'll plant one out in the early spring. That way she has tomatoes in the early to midsummer. And then I'll plant another one of these plants in the early summer. That way toward the end of the summer she can get another full flush of these slicer tomatoes. Once the beefsteak tomatoes start to produce, we can continuously harvest those for her a little bit at a time as those ripen on the plant. So that is the plan for these home sliced tomatoes. And I'll put a picture on the screen so you can see what that looks like. All right, so those are all the varieties that I'm going to be planting in 2026. That's 7 varieties in total. Not too bad. All of these varieties, with the exception to the determinate variety, the home slice that I showed you, the rest of them are going to be getting planted in my raised garden bed, which is about 6 by 3 feet or about 18 square feet, which means I can get, if you follow the square foot planting method, you can get about 18 plants in this bed, so about 1 per square foot. Now with a lot of these tomato plants, they are indeterminates, which means they're going to grow, pretty tall, and they're going to, get pretty wide. So my plan is to plant them about, 18 to 24 inches apart. So I will probably get about, 12 or so plants in that bed. Although my goal is always to maximize my planting space or my growing space and plant as much as I can in that space, in this particular case, I also want to be conscious of the fact that tomato plants are prone to disease, especially if you plant them close together. So I'm going to really try to stick with planting them 18 to 24 inches apart. I want to make sure that they're not subjected to diseases if I can avoid it. I also want to make sure that they get good airflow. So that will be my plan, is to make sure that I give them proper spacing so that they can grow to be as healthy as possible. I'm going to be starting all of these from seed, and I usually start my tomato seeds or sow them indoors about 6 to 8 weeks before my last spring frost date. My last spring frost date is estimated for early April, and so if I count back, 6 to 8 weeks, I'll probably go with the 8-week mark because I want to make sure I leave sufficient time for transition phase so they can get acclimated to the weather. And so 8 weeks before my last spring frost would be early March. So early March is when I'm going to plan to start sowing these seeds indoors so they have enough time to get going, get a couple of inches of growth, for me to transition them outdoors for planting in the ground in late spring. I don't know about you, but I'm getting excited thinking about sowing seeds and planting things out next year. I hope you guys enjoyed this content. In the next video, I'll be covering brassicas and root vegetables. So be sure to come back and check that one out. Leave me a comment below. Let me know what types of tomatoes you're planning on growing for 2026. And I hope to see you guys back here soon. Until next time, friends, take care.